got down to where we end up with 500,000 instead of 1,000,003. And we've been working against that number since the project started. And we're going to continue to not. You know, we still got some in-kind that we're working against these numbers that you're using tonight. Okay? But some of the bigger projects that could have been done could eliminate probably nearly all of what we did tonight. That's the sad part, okay? I know you guys like to make money, but I don't like to spend money that's not mine, okay? Any questions on anything? Is that good enough, Trey? Okay. Mr. Young. Okay. All right, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go to preaching here. They get me to preaching. I need money. I might pass the plate around.
Remember, the cupboard is there.
We got to move to item 14.
Let's just go ahead and move down there with these guys while they're sitting here, and then they can get out of town before the sheriff gets them. Let's see, it starts with
14.
13.
13.
No, yeah, 14, I'm sorry, 14. Okay, y'all got the floor.
Thank you. Steve Perry with Wells Nelson Associates. We've got 4 items, so I'll move through those just as quickly as I can. Of course, answering your questions as we move through. The first item is basically a renewal. If you remember, we were back in December, we had come out and talked to you about an opportunity to refinance your 2005 bonds and save some money. Very shortly after we met, and especially going into the beginning of the next year, interest rates started to climb. They started to climb. So whenever we called and talked to Dr. Moore, we made the decision, let's just kind of wait to see what happens. We don't have to go out and move right now. So what we have today is an update of where the savings are now. They're a lot less than they were in December. But you can see the savings, $590,000 from refinancing the 2005 bonds. There's a number on here, the present value benefit. You basically take the savings that are worth to you today, we divide by the amount of bonds we're refunding, we get a percentage. And that percentage is about 8.8%. Generally, if that number is about 3%, 5%, we would recommend the transaction. I still think it's a good deal, but given that it's less than what we presented to you in December, we want to come back and talk to you and show you where it is today so that you get to make a decision. So
If this deal was sent out any further than that, in other words, you're saying the same, I just need to waking up. We would save $590,000 over the period of this thing,
correct.
about $5,000 a year.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this, in your humble opinion, is this interest business going to help us or not? Or is it going to continue to go up?
Well,
I'm asking you because I don't have a crystal ball.
Well, I don't either. If you flip to the next page, I put together a graphic of where interest rates were when we met in December, and you can see where we are today. I think we were in a trough. You know, chances are that rates are going to stay about where they are, maybe increase a little bit. But you know, we've been saying for some time that interest rates are going to go up at some point. There's been a lot of cash put into the economy. At some point, that becomes inflationary, and interest rates start to go up. But you know, it is where it is today. I think those are levels of savings that are worth considering, taking a look at. You know, our goal is to get these things into place and then monitor them and report to you from time to time, especially if right out of the chute we're not able to make the financing work. So, you know, by the time we got back into the new year, had all the documentation put together, rates had already come up some. Then, you know, within just a matter of weeks, you can see there have been a couple of pretty steep climbs in rates, and it just kept seeming to not get any better. So we've had a little bit of a back off in rates. You would expect going up to tax time that rates would increase because people are taking their money out of funds to pay their taxes. So I think we're going to be in a good environment. The last couple of weeks we've had very favorable interest rate environments, but you know, whether or not they're going to come back down, it's hard to say, because where we were at the end of last year was you know, one of the all-time lows in interest rates that we've had.
It would have been good if it would have gone up $30-something thousand a year savings.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt.
then
No
the
doubt.
transaction tonight would be zero.
Right. Right. So, what we have, the order that we put into place back in December is only good for 6 months. So the idea is to renew that, and discuss whether or not where we are today is worth considering. In my professional opinion, I think where we are today is good. If I were coming to you for the first time and showing this to you, I would think this is great, but, we did come out and present numbers to you that were higher, so we wanted to come and give explanation for why they're not where they were, and that, it's factors beyond our and your control.
Well, I think the way the board felt was, you gave us a cost, and when you come back, it went up, and I didn't have the approval to approve it no matter what. And I said, well, if it's going up, and of course, before we turn around, it went way up.
Right.
And so that's hindsight.
Right. And we thought we'd keep monitoring it, see if rates would come
What
back
you're
down.
asking for is approval 6 months to keep looking at it, is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir.
Then if it shows any good parts, you'll come back to us.
This order would give us the ability to go out and proceed, lock in interest rates, subject to your approval. So it's probably worth talking about, at what level are we comfortable? Is 500,000 enough? Is 450 enough? This is where we are today.
How much we owe?
Pardon?
Said how much do
I
we
asked how much we owe. You said where I could be comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Zero.
Right,
I
right.
don't think it'll work that way. But anyway, what was the amount we were trying to get before? $1 million, wasn't it?
Close to $1 million.
I'd say, just according to how far, I don't, myself, you're looking at $500,000 the taxpayers don't have to pay. That's what you're looking at. So I would hope that if you could get up to 50,000 or 60,000 a year, I think that'd be a good note. Whatever that comes to.
Yeah, that'd be about double where we are.
Huh?
That'd be about double.
Yeah, about $1 million.
I had a question, back in last June 2012, you came to us and we did a refinance of the bonds at that time.
Yes, sir.
We talking about refinancing those bonds again?
No, this is a new series of debt. This is the 2005 series.
They just did a segment because of the higher interest rate.
And what's the principal amount that we'd be doing the bond program on?
$5,125,000. That's the amount that we're talking about refinancing. That's just the series 2005 bonds.
What was the amount of that 2003 series?
If I recall, it was just below $10 million. I don't recall off the top of my head, but it was below.
They came back and redid it, so I don't remember now. I know it went over 10 million.
It was refinanced at 2.708%?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you don't remember the principal on that, or the total?
Not
It's in
exactly
the
off
audit
the top of
report.
my head.
We could find it for you, the audit report.
It would have been your 2012 audit, I believe.
The 2012 audit mentions,
Usually note 9, note N, thereabouts.
that'd be 8.4,
Yeah, that sounds right.
8.485.
That sounds right.
We're talking about 2005?
Yes, sir. Talking about
Interest rate.
Interest rate of 2005?
The interest rate on average, roughly 4.75%, 4.8%. And on average today, we're closer to 2.3%.
Let me make a recommendation here. I think it'd be good for the board to go ahead and pass this thing that he's talking about now. And then if something happens in the next 6 months, we can come back, and you bet I'm gonna bring it back to the board. I know I got the flexibility, but I'm not gonna do that, okay? I think last time it was nailed down pretty tight. We knew what the interest was and how much the savings was. So if we got it, then they agreed that's what I was gonna do. But I don't want to charge of that other. Now, as far as being able to negotiate and talk, okay, that's what you have to have it. But say if we got something good, we just have to have a meeting posted for 72 hours and do it. And I would recommend it if the thing drops enough to make an actual good savings for the taxpayers.
Right.
Well, some of them would probably slap me if they knew we could save 500 and we didn't do something.
Right.
Are you telling me right now that our savings could be 590,529 if we do it right now?
That's